Welcome to all Ray Shikshan Sanstha's e-learning online education. Today we are going to learn a lesson of 10th standard of English Kumarbharati. The name of lesson is The Concert, which is written by Shanta Rao. The half part of this lesson we have seen in the previous video. We have seen that there was the Anand who was suffering by the cancer, and he wanted to wish to hear the play of Pandit Ravi Shankar, but he was not able to attend the concert because he had not many days to live and he was suffering by the cancer. But he was saying again and again, this is the chance of a lifetime. So I wanted to hear him and see him. But his mother was refused to go for the concert to the Anand because of his condition. Now, remaining half part of this lesson, we will continue here. Let's start. Smita stood at the window looking at the traffic, her eyes wet with tears. Her mother whispered, "But you, Smita, you must go. Your father will take you." That means Smita was lost herself in thoughts and she was looking towards traffic by standing nearby window. Her eyes were wet with the tears. At the same time her mother saying to the Smita, "Smita, you must go for the concert. I will ask your father to take you." But Smita was not ready to go for the concert as she was alone and she was saying that we have always done things together, Anant and I. She had answered to her mother. She was thought that always Anant and Smita did the things together, and now how can I? Now Smita went in the park, but she lost in her thoughts. As per the suggestion of Aunt Sushila, Smita went in the park, but she was lost herself in her thoughts. Suddenly, a daring thought came to her, and as she hurried home, she said to herself, "Why not? There is no harm in trying it. It would be nice to go for the concert. I don't know when I will get another opportunity to hear Pandit Ravi Shankar." Now, Smita is ready for going for the concert. Suddenly, one thought, a daring thought, came her came to her mind, and she was ready to go for the concert as well as she was thinking that it would be nice to go for the concert and when will get another opportunity to hear Pandit Ravi Shankar. So she was agreed for going for the concert with her father, and her father agreed to get the tickets. The next day, as Smita and her father were leaving for the concert, her brother smiled and said, "Enjoy yourself," though the words came out in painful gaps, "Lucky you." When the Smita and her father were going for the concert, at the same time, brother was smiled at them, towards them, and uttered the some word, "Enjoy yourself," with the painful gaps. And also he said to the Smita, "You are lucky." Sitting beside her father in the gallery, Smita heard as in a dream the thundering welcome the audience gave the great master. Finally, Smita came for the concert, and she had seen the welcome of the Pandit Ravi Shankar. It is called as in a dream the thundering welcome the audience gave the great master. Then the first notes came over the air, and Smita felt as if the gates of a land of enchantment and wonder were opening. Now the playing of the Pandit Ravi Shankar, which was started, and she heard the first notes of Pandit Ravi Shankar, and she felt that the gates of the Land of enchantment and wonder were opening. Spellbound, she listened to the unfolding rag, the slow, plaintive notes, the fast twinkling ones, but all the while, the plan she had decided on the evening before remained firmly in her mind. Now, Smita was came for the concert. She was hearing the playing of the Pandit Ravi Shankar. Also, she was seeing the unfolding. She was listening to the unfolding rag, as well as the slow plaintive notes, fast twinkling ones. All these by the Pandit Ravi Shankar. But at the same time, she was remember her plan, which was decided by her on the evening before, and she was firm on that plan in her mind. The chance of a lifetime. She heard Anand's voice in every beat of the tabla. When she was heard the every beat of the tabla, she was remember the words of the Anand, which was as the chance of a lifetime. The concert came to the an end. The audience gave the artist a standing ovation. Now the concert was came to an end, and all the audience was stand, and they had given the standing ovation for the great master Pandit Ravi Shankar. A large moustache man having a long mustache made a long boring speech. Then came to the presentation of bouquet, then more applause, and the curtain came down. Finally, the play of the Pandit Ravi Shankar was came to an end. The people began to move towards the exit. When the when the curtain came down, then all the audience they started to go toward the exit. Now was the time Smita wriggled her way through the crowds toward the stage. Then she went up the steps that led to the wings, her heart beating loudly. In the wings of a small crowd had gathered to talk about the evening concert, to help carry bouquet and teacups and instruments. Smita thought it was the time to talk with them. So she came toward the stage. There was a crowd of the people. Some people came to talk with them about the evening concert. Some was came to to help them to carry bouquet and teacup as well as instruments. He was there standing with the man who played the tabla for him, the great wizard of music, Ustad Allah Rakhal. Her knees felt weak, her tongue dry, but she went up and standing before them, her hands folded, "Oh sir," she burst out. Now Smita was stood in front of them, and she was burst out. Smita went up and standing before them, and her hands folded. "Oh, sir," she burst out. "Yes," he asked questioningly but kindly, and her story came pouring out, the story of her brother who lay sick at home, and of how he longed to hear him and the Ustad play. Now she was stood in front of them, and she had folded her hands and burst out that she told all the story about her brother, about the sickness, about illness. She had told that how he was longing to hear him and the Ustad play. "Will you come to Aunt Sushila's house and play for him?" she asked at the end, breathlessly. "Please," she begged, "please come." Finally, she was asked to them, "Will you come to Aunt Sushila's house? Will you play? Will you play for him? He wanted to see you. He wanted to hear hear you. Please, please, will you come to Aunt Sushila's house and play for him? She asked at the end breathlessly. She was begging for it. Please come, please come. Little girl, said the mustachioed man who had made the long speech. Panditji is a busy man. You must not bother him with such request. But Pandit Ravi Shankar smiled and motioned him to be quiet. Now there was the one mustachioed man who had given the long speech, and he was saying to her that Panditji is a busy man, and why you are going to bother him by making such a request? But Pandit Ravi Shankar was smiled towards her and smiled and motioned him to be quiet. But the Pandit Ravi Shankar smiled and he had motioned him to be quiet. He turned to Ustad Sahib and said, "What shall we do, Ustad Sahib?" The Ustad moved the word of pan from one cheek to another. "Tomorrow morning we perform for the boy." "Yes," he said. And Pandit Ravi Shankar was asked, he was turned toward the Ustad Sahib and asked him, "Then what shall we do, Ustad Sahib?" Then Ustad Sahib said that tomorrow morning we perform for the boy. "Yes." "Yes," Panditji replied. "It is settled then." It was a very excited Smita who came home late that night. Anant was awake, breathing the oxygen from the cylinder. Now it was the great excitement for the Smita because finally Pandit Ravi Shankar was ready to play for the Anand, to come for the home, for coming for the home, as well as to play for Anand. And Anand was awake. Smita, who came home late that night, and Anand was awake and breathing the oxygen from the cylinder. When the Smita was came to home late night, at that time Anand was not slept. He was breathing the oxygen from the cylinder. Did you hear him?" he whispered. "I did," she replied, "and I spoke to him, and he will come tomorrow morning with the tabla ustad and they will play for you." When Smita came home at that time, Anand was asking about the play. "Did you hear him? Did you hear him?" he was whispered. Smita said, given the reply, "Yes, I spoke to him. Also, I will come tomorrow morning with the tabla ustad and play. They will play for you," they said. And the following morning, Aunt Sushila's neighbors saw two men get out of a taxi which pulled up outside their block. They could not believe their eyes, and the next morning they came and they had seen two men who was get out of a taxi and they could not believe their eyes. Is it? It is not possible, they said. Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Rakha went up the wooden staircase and knocked softly on the door of Aunt Sushila's apartment. Now Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Rakha's who was came and they had knocked on the door of the Aunt Sushila's apartment. They went in, sat down on the divan by the window and played for the boy, surrounding him with a great and beautiful happiness as life went out of him gently, very gently. Finally, Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Rakhas was came to the Aunt Sushila's house and they had fulfilled the wish of Anand. For him, they had played for the boy, and when they played for the boy, they surrounding him with a great and beautiful happiness as life went out of him gently, very gently. Finally, the Anant wish fulfilled, and the Anant was very happy by hearing the playing of the Pandit Ravi Shankar. So it was called as a when the play for the boy surrounding him with a great and beautiful happiness as life went out of him gently, very gently. I hope all you understood the half part of this lesson. Thank you for watching this video.